Good afternoon, YWCA viewers. My name is Kendra McHale. I am the Chief Development Officer here at YWCA, and I am so excited to have you all join today for Season 2, Episode 6 of The Butterfly Effect. And we do meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:30. And I do have a very special guest with me today that I've actually known for quite some time and follow her in all her daily lives on Facebook and her professional life. But I'd like to first thank Pursuit Lending. Pursuit provides businesses with affordable loans and resources so that we can transform and grow. They're an Albany-based community-focused lender, 100% invested in the success of their clients. If you are a small business owner looking for funds to start, grow, or recover, you can learn more on their website, which we have posted on our Facebook page. This is our empowerment series where individuals like myself, our volunteers in the community, interview such amazingly inspiring, empowering women in our community. And today I have the honor of interviewing Chrissy Smith. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. It's such an honor to be on this side of things because I have heard you speak on many occasions, and I've been to a couple of your mixers, and I'm just very excited to have you on the show today.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I feel so special and flattered.
Good. Well, before we jump into questions, Chrissy, because I know our audience wants to learn more about you, I do want to share your bio. So I'm going to go ahead and read that, and then we can just get right on in. So here we go. So Chrissy is not your average gal, and those are your words, right?
Mm-hmm.
A divorced mom of one. Chrissy is an engineered artistic mind with a bartender's personality, and we'll get into that. She has made her way through predominantly male industries to build a business tailored to those with a genuine giver's mindset. Her experience has aided in her development of process to educate others on how to build their networks intentionally. Chrissy has built her business through active community building and strives for others to be able to replicate so that perhaps one day networking won't always feel like a dirty word. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Chrissy, is there anything else you want to share about yourself before we start diving into all the inspiration that you do every day?
I mean, let's just dive right in. Let's just do it.
Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. So when you were younger, I mean, here you are now, a working professional, doing your thing. When you were younger, who inspired you?
I mean, I can't recall like any one particular person. I mean, I had a couple of teachers that I really looked up to because of their like effort and time that they put into students. And just watching that, I remember distinguishing that as a child, seeing an adult take extra time with, a class full of students when they didn't necessarily need to do that because not everybody does. And that always left an impact on me. When you take that a little extra time with somebody, you're, kinder to somebody, you share something with someone. It's amazing how far that goes and how much that can really affect someone.
That's amazing. And you're totally right. Like my mom was a school teacher and I am so blessed to have her in my life, but like I see what teachers do and you are like absolutely spot on. There's more than just the 8 hours of education. So yeah. Now, I'm sure you've had more than one in your lifetime, depending on where you were in your life, but have you had any particular mentors that you've worked with to help you get to where you are today?
So I definitely had my share of coaches over the years. I've had, some that were only in for a short time. I went through like, a boot camp program or a quick 6-week program, which has been really helpful. I just finished one with Brandon Eastman, which was fantastic. I went in with I just need a different perspective. And at the time I had started, I had this really internal, I can't really explain it other than it was like a knot, right under my rib cage. And I couldn't figure out, it was like a feeling.
Okay.
And this feeling, no matter what I did, no matter who I talked to, it just never went away. but about 3 weeks into the program, it went away and it hasn't come back. So whatever I was trying to work out, Brandon really helped me with without even realizing it. And, I just needed that other perspective. And then I coach regularly with Hillary Dahl. So she's an energy alchemist. And I've told her this story many times, but when I first went and saw her, I was in a lot of personal and professional turmoil and feeling at my wit's end. I literally told her to her face, I didn't think what she did was real. And I'm like, I'm just here because I don't know what else to do. The therapist I was going to only got me to that wall and I couldn't get through. I couldn't break through that. And I knew I needed to figure out a way to do that. Hillary was able to do that. And that was almost 3 years ago, that she helped me break through just everything I was going through and not necessarily use my past as momentum rather than that ball and chain.
I really like how you just said that, you not using it necessarily as momentum. That's awesome. Can you elaborate though a little bit more on that so you said she is an energist?
Energy alchemist, that's what she calls herself.
Wow.
It's not the same as Reiki, but
okay.
We all feel it, right? We all have energy that moves around us and moves through us, and she essentially helps reset some of your chakras. And it's so weird. If you told me this 4 years ago, I'd be talking about this, I'd be like, no way. That's not going to happen. But it's done amazing things for how I see the world, how I think about things, how I process things, how I get over things. There's certain things in your life you're never going to get over, right? It's always going to be a part of you, but actually being able to look at it differently. So it's not, it's not hanging you back. It's not causing you to be fogged over. And I feel like at that particular time, I knew I was getting fogged over. I was going to get to the point where I was going to go into a really dark spot and never be able to get out.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that worked out for you, because here you are today, and almost everybody I come across in whatever, networking out in the community, people know who you are, which is pretty cool. So, what do you call yourself? The master networker? Is that what I've heard thrown around a couple times?
Probably that. I use some Star Wars terms, so like a networking Jedi, or I call myself Obi-Wan Kenobi of networking. That like that one.
Well, since we're on the topic, so let's talk about RipLeFX. So I want you to take this opportunity and kind of tell the audience how this all started. And and what I really love about RipLeFX is that you do try to make things fun. It doesn't, I've been to your networking events. They're completely different than anything I've ever gone to. So please take an opportunity to use this platform to talk about what you do.
So with RipLeFX, I've been running strategic networking groups for quite a while now, since before, RipLeFX existed. And it came about, kind of by happenstance. It was kind of by accident. Everyone knew me as a networker. I was running networking workshops. I was running a networking group at the time, and I was actually teaching people how to network. And I was just seeing the effects that it had when I taught somebody how to be a better networker. Well, I got better connections. I got better referrals. And I'm like, there's something with this, right?
Right.
And, using that methodology, but intentionalizing everything for people and saying, here, let me show you what I've done and how it's worked for me, how I've built a community. And here, how about you leverage this? You don't have to go through all of the hardships I had to go through to get to this point. Everyone is like, oh, how did you do this? I'm like, well, there was a lot of fails that happened, along the way. It wasn't even this quick. And, the term ripple effect. So our name, RipLeFX, you can see it's not spelled like it sounds. Right. But I want people to understand that networking is a habit. It is not a one and done. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom. You should be networking, because you don't know who knows somebody, who's going to solve your next problem, who's going to give you that next opportunity, who is going to be your next best friend. You don't know. And until you're out there, actively in the community, connecting with people, doing things with people that are similar to you, you just don't know. And you don't know what ripple effect that's going to have.
I love it.
And when people start networking in that way, they're doing it intentionally. They're not just coming at you with their business card and saying, hey, you should buy from me because I'm amazing and what I sell is going to change your life, right? When you start coming at people and saying, hey, what are you looking for? And, who do you want a connection to? And what are you having trouble with right now? And you become a resource. You become an asset that people want to be around on a regular basis. And they're thinking about you. Just like, any type of marketing that's out there, for an individual to brand themselves successfully, they have to be able to have other people talk about them and replicate what it is they're saying. Right. If that's not happening, how do you expect anyone to refer you to a client if they can't even talk about you in a way that is going to resonate with anybody else?
Right. Now let's build on that or dive a little bit deeper. So you offer various Zoom groups right now because you used to meet in person.
We did.
COVID happened, and I know that you have specific groups that you've set up, and you also have like some team members that actually run those specific groups for you. So would you mind sharing some of that information with the audience?
Yep. So RipLeFX does a couple different things. So we run strategic networking groups, we run events, and we actually teach people how to be intentional networkers. So we have group and individual coaching opportunities. Our networking groups run Monday through Friday right now at various times through the day. We actually have members all over the country. We have a member that is in Canada also. We've actually had members in other countries, but the time zone, time difference was an issue. And yes, we have our members help run the groups because, listen, not everybody wants to hear from me. Let's be honest here. And, I can't be everywhere. Right. For us to build a successful community, I need other leaders. And that's honestly who we look for. I don't want every type of person within RipLeFX. I want people who already understand the giver's mindset, but maybe didn't understand that that's what they were doing. You think about other people, you're constantly happy for other people's success. Doesn't mean you don't want it for yourself, right? But you're maybe more apt to do something for someone else than you are for yourself. So I'm trying to teach you, yes, that's great, but let's do it in such a way that you don't ever feel like a salesperson. You don't feel like you're selling used cars, and you can get out there and be successful without feeling like you can't sleep at night.
Right. Now, as I indicated, I said that I've gone to a couple of your workshops, and I've also been to other networking events. And so I'm going to give you a little shout out here because the networking events that I've gone to with you have been very laid back. Like it was almost like you want to become friends. There's no pressure. Like you just said, you take that salesy piece out of it. You take the business card piece out of it, at least initially, and you just sit down and you just get to know each other. You incorporate a lot of games. I like that. So it really does, for anyone that's new to networking, or again, want to just meet new people. I would highly recommend that you reach out to Chrissy. Now, Chrissy, before we move on, just go ahead and tell everybody what your website is so they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so you can go to our website. So obviously the spelling behind me. So RipLeFX.us.
Great.
So not .com, .us. You can kind of see how we do things. We also have a member portal as well. So once people sign up, or whatever membership they decide to go into, because you don't have to be a part of the groups, you can just be an events member. You have access to all the members, exclusive events. We actually have a WhatsApp group as well, so everyone can chat with each other, introduce new members, chat about events, share things, share resources. So check it out.
It's awesome. So, well, thank you for sharing your knowledge on that. And I highly, as indicated, I highly recommend people reach out, check out the website. As indicated, I've done a couple networking groups with you as well, and I've really enjoyed myself. So let's actually pivot back to you specifically. So I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'd really like to know how you came to do this specific work. Was it like an aha moment, or did it kind of take you some time?
So, I mean, I've always been a networker. I just didn't realize that. And I've always been an entrepreneur. Like literally, I can recall trying to start like a dog sitting service when I was like 8.
Nice.
So, I mean, like this is, this type of path is something that, I've been on for a really long time. And, I'm always interested in, innovation and efficiency and, how I can make my life easier, not just other people's, but my life too, right?
Right.
Personally and professionally. And the impacts of networking I really saw actually after some of the craziness in my life 3 years ago. I was in a not good marriage and didn't know that at the time. I mean, you look back and you're like, oh my God, why, how did I get this far, right?
Right.
And I know I was able to leave an abusive relationship because I had a network. I had support behind me. I literally had, no joke, RipLeFX members reaching out to me and saying, if you and your daughter need a place to stay, we got you. I'm like,
right.
That I was blown away by people taking that extra time. It's beyond professional in a lot of these situations. And I've always had a knack for it. It's always been something that's, been in my blood to, be chatty and social. But the intentional side of things didn't really happen until, I got into financial services and I hated people. Not hate is a strong word, but I really disliked the judgment that came with being in that field and having people pass judgment because they've met all these other advisors and they did not have a good experience.
Right.
And I'm, fresh out and just doing what I'm told. And I'm like, well, this isn't working. And there's got to be a better way. And, it kind of went from there.
Wow. Were you, just a little sidebar, when you were younger, were you like the social butterfly at lunch and would you go like table to table to table to table?
Not necessarily table to table, but it was always I went to school. I took most of my elementary education was in California, and we had these. I don't know if they were like. I think they're like progress reports, I guess, but they were like the cards, and there was always a note in there about me being overly chatty in school, and Chrissy's a great student, but we have to tell her to be quiet and stop. Distracting her friends.
But look at you now, you're taking, those skills that you had even as a kid. Cause I do feel like sometimes networking is like a behavior that, people get or they don't. And if they want to do networking, they really got to get out of their comfort zone a little bit.
And I think too, like, I tell people who are introverted, like, they're like, well, I can't really network because I'm never comfortable. I'm like, you're in the wrong situations. That's what you're doing. And you're also looking at it wrong. Everyone actually is really good at networking. You do it at barbecues,
right?
Like, if you have a spouse or you've dated anyone anytime in your life, you obviously have some skill in communicating with somebody that's not just word vomiting on them. So I know people are capable of doing it, but they don't think of it that way. As soon as people think professional, they lose their minds and they go back to their sales word tracks. But I'm like, sales word tracks aren't appropriate right now because this person doesn't know you. You haven't established a foundation. If that foundation is already rocky, well, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to fail.
Right. And I think you put it very well. And I appreciate that. So, okay. So here we go. We're going to do a rewind. So, what would you like? Let's see here. What do I want to ask? I want to ask you about you being 21 years old. Okay. So based on what you know now, what advice would you give your 21-year-old self? I know you're not much older than that anyways.
Well, thank you. I would say, I know that over the years I've had a hard time with change.
Okay.
I don't take very well to abrupt happenings at any capacity. I really will kind of like put my heels in the sand, so to speak. So I think, the best advice I would give is to take a step back, relax. Change isn't necessarily a bad thing. And sometimes it's something that if you had relaxed in the first time it came through, it wouldn't have been as dramatic as you made it seem. Right. I definitely, looking back, you see like old chat histories and stuff, and I'm like, good Lord, what kind of person was I then? like crazy. So, just looking at things and taking a different perspective and,
Great.
something does things differently than you, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Right. No, I think that's a great perspective. So I have like maybe two more questions for you because our time is running a little close here, but I want to know, what would you tell, or what advice would you want other women to know?
Just in general, or?
Yeah, just in general, like if you could provide some advice to them, something that you've experienced that, you would be like, do
Yeah.
this or,
So I would say that listen to your gut,
oh,
and
I love that.
don't let people tell you that. So this is actually coming from full experience, especially being in male dominated fields,
Right.
and being told to tone it down, lose the hair color, change the clothes. I wear purple wasn't always a thing. That was after I got divorced, but being able to be my true self. It was amazing looking back how many companies that I've worked in that never really allowed that. They literally put me in a box, and I don't fit in boxes ever. And I think a lot of us are very scared to do that because there's that fear that, well, they're going to fire me, they're going to let me go. And I'm like, listen, if you're going to have any sort of confrontation where you can't really be yourself, how do you expect to be successful in whatever it is you're doing if you can't even be 100% comfortable? And as soon as I got 100% comfortable with what it was I was doing, and that started being in financial services, and I even did it in the car business, business was always good. People were more relaxed around me because I was more relaxed. So any advice, listen to your gut. There's no reason why you shouldn't be happy with what it is that you're doing. And if you're not, find something else, and stand your ground when it comes to being yourself. I'm not saying you need to be like, vulgar and like, unprofessional,
Right.
obviously, but if you're a sassy type person, like you want to wear a certain type of clothes, like make sure you're still professional with everything that you're doing, but there's no reason why your personality shouldn't show through.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for that. Yeah, I have to agree with you. As I've gotten older myself, I feel like there's something going on in my gut there. I either feel pressured or it's not the right fit. So I appreciate that. All right. So I'm gonna leave it with this question, and then I'll have you go about the rest of your day. But what is the best advice that you specifically have ever gotten?
I would say the best advice that I've ever gotten was to slow down.
Okay.
It's a hard thing for me to do. And for those listening that know me at all, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I run 1,000,000 miles a minute. People joke and make fun of me for, working all the time. But I've realized that it's not even like overworking. It's like just taking a minute with certain things, like taking a minute to respond, or taking a minute before you go do something, like rather than having knee-jerk reactions, which I definitely am guilty of in any type of situation, even if not just that, just anything, right? Taking a little bit more time to have more thought and intention behind the things that I'm doing. It was definitely the best advice. It's taken me a long time to really actually use that and slow down. And I don't always do it all the time, but I've definitely gotten better, and it's definitely a good piece of advice.
Good. Well, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Chrissy, for sharing your story, sharing your passion, sharing your endeavors with us today. You truly are an inspiring woman in our community, and I really enjoy following you and hearing more about you. So, as noted, if you want to get a hold of Chrissy, her website information is right in the comments section. And please continue to visit us on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:30 as we continue this second series. And Chrissy, I just thank you so much. It was a pleasure interviewing you today.
So, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks, Chrissy. Take care.